What's stopping you from going from 6 to 7 figures or from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures in your consulting business? Well, today I'm going to break down and share with you 7 things that I see over and over again that really hold people back from getting to that next level. So let's get right into it. The first is that the founder is spending too much time on admin, right? Administrative tasks. And this can be things like invoicing, it can be bookkeeping, it can be scheduling. It can really be anything that is administrative in nature. And they're trying to just hold on to too much that is admin related. This is not the best use of your time as a founder or as an owner of the business. You should be spending your time on growing the business. These are all things, all the administrative kind of tasks that I just mentioned are things that you can get somebody else to do. And not only will they likely enjoy doing them more than you, because you're probably not enjoying doing these things, but even more importantly, well, maybe it's not more important, but it's definitely important, is that will free you up to focus on the things that are higher value, that will actually help you to grow the business. Right? You doing admin does not help you to grow the business. It might help you to maintain the business, but in fact, I would argue that doing those things is holding you back from growing your business, which is why I wanted to bring it up here, just simply because the more that you're doing admin, the less that you're actually spending time growing your business. And even it's less time you have than to just think, to be strategic, to think about the future of your business. So stop doing admin stuff, right? That's something that needs to go to somebody else. So number two is that the founder is spending too much time in delivery and not enough in sales. Now, I've talked to consulting founders as part of the Consulting Success podcast who still spend about 20-25% of their time when they are running a $30 million consulting business. And it's not that they have to, it's that they choose to. And in that specific case, it was because that founder enjoys doing the work. And you likely enjoy doing the work to a certain degree. But if you want to grow your business, you doing all of the work or you spending all of your time doing the work, even if you have team members, means that, again, you don't have time to work on growing the business. That's just something that you want to decide. If you are happy to maintain the business in the way that it is, then just keep doing what you're doing, right? Keep doing that work. But the problem with that is that even if you want to maintain your business kind of at the level that you're at, if you're only doing the work, it means that you're not then spending enough time doing the things that will likely bring in the business for you. And that might be business development, it might be sales, it might be marketing, it might be content creation, right? Speaking, writing, even those things, they all help you to grow the business. Well, time and time again, I will talk with consultants who say, I'm so busy, I'm at capacity, right? Things are great, but I'm so busy delivering, I don't have time to actually work on growing my business. Now, here's something really important to remember. What you are seeing in your business today, in terms of the results, right? The growth that you're seeing in your business today, is not the result of what you did today, and it's certainly not the result of what you did yesterday. It's the result of what you likely did 3 months, 6 months, 9 months ago. It takes time for things to build up, right? There's a compounding effect. And so that means what you are doing today in your business, you're not going to see the impact of that likely tomorrow. You're going to see the impact of that in 3 months from now or 4 months from now. So if you're not working on growing your business today, again, you might be fine. You might not even notice a difference for a few weeks or a few months. But over time, you're going to notice. This is why it's never a good idea in my mind to be fully focused only on delivery inside of your business. It doesn't matter how successful things are. If you're only doing delivery, you're not spending time working on your business. So you need to spend more time doing the things that will help you to grow your business. And that's business development, that's sales, that's marketing, that's content creation, right? And it might be all of those or some of those. You need to figure out, and it depends on the structure of your company. How many people do you have? Do you have somebody that is already fully focused on marketing or content creation? But you need to figure out where can you play a role that touches or impacts the growth and the future of the business. That is incredibly important as a founder if you want to get to the next level. Now, the next thing is fear of increasing your prices. Pricing is in one way the opposite of what I just mentioned, right? The things I just talked about in my previous point take time, right? There's a compounding nature. Well, pricing is opposite to that in the sense that you can literally increase your prices today. And today you can see the impact of that if you win business today, and certainly tomorrow, whenever you win your next piece of business. So pricing can have an immediate impact on your business. It can increase your profitability. It can increase your revenue, right? It can put you in a much better cash flow position. And so there's a fear that people have around increasing their prices because they often think they have this belief in their mind that higher prices is somehow harder to win business, and higher prices means fewer clients. But that's actually not the case. If you look at the data and if you talk to people that actually have higher prices than you do, you'll I would say likely find out that not only is their profitability higher than you, not only is their revenue higher than you, not only do they maybe have more clients than you, but overall they have a healthier business than you, right? Lower prices generally mean, from a consulting business perspective, it's not a good thing. So your job is to figure out what do you need to do to increase your fees to get to a higher level. We do a lot of work with our clients inside of the Clarity Coaching Program around that, looking at their specific situation and helping them to develop a pricing strategy that allows them to earn significantly more with every project that they take on. If you'd like help with that, just click on the link somewhere on this video, maybe below this video or somewhere on the page, or just go to consultingsuccess.com and get in touch. Now let's talk about the next one. That is the fear to hire or delegate. And I see this, it's true from people who are running six-figure consulting businesses as a solo consultant. And I had a conversation just the other day with a multi-seven-figure per year consulting business owner who still right now has a bit of that fear. And they have a team of over 10 people. So why is that? What's going on? Well, there can be many reasons for this, but one is the belief that the founder has that, hey, I can do this better than somebody else. It would take me more time to train and to hire somebody to take over and do that. Usually those things are just like, it's a self-limiting belief. It's not reality. The hiring, yes, takes time. It's not always fun. Training takes time. It's not always fun. But the reality is, if you hire the right person, you delegate to the right person, and you empower them, you train them, you invest early on in that hire or in that, that person that you're working with. If they're the right person and they have the right skills, they will be able to take off. And you're going to look and go, wow, I'm so glad that I got this off my plate. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just go off and randomly hire a bunch of people. And in fact, today, given AI and just what's happening in around artificial intelligence and technology, there is usually a good reason, or at least it's wise to ask yourself and to look into, before I go and hire somebody, is there a tool, a technology, some use of AI that can help me to accomplish what I want without having to go hire a person? Or can I bring AI or technology to one of my current team members, and can they use it to help us to get something done? So essentially, can they do a lot more than they're doing today? Can they be more efficient and more effective? And that can save you from going out and hiring somebody else. So whether you go out and delegate or hire, or whether you use some AI or technology to help you, the key thing is you want to look at where you currently spending your time and what can you get off to somebody else. Now, the other thing that I think is important to remember is that when companies grow, one of the ways that companies grow is not always by, and I'd say the earlier stage business owner, their mindset is, the way for me to grow is for me to get better and, for my existing team to get better. Well, that will usually take you to a certain point. But when you want to get to the next level, the reality is that it's not always about you or the people that you currently have, that they're not always the right ones to get you to that next level. And so this is where starting to think more strategically about who has that experience and who can I learn from, or who can I hire that can actually help us to get to that next level because they've already been there themselves. Okay. And so that's a really important thing for you to be thinking about. Now, the next point here is the fear to say no to certain clients that are low paying or just overall low value. So it might be a client that is low paying that you've had for quite some time, and there's a relationship there, and you don't want to upset them. Maybe you feel bad about that. But what's important to remember is that when you keep a low paying client, it fills up space that you could replace with a higher paying client. And so if growing revenues or profitability is not a top priority for you, then that's okay, right? Go about it the way that makes you feel okay, right? It's your business. But if you want to grow your business, and if you want to be able to earn more, and in some cases earn significantly more without having to work more, that's really what this is about. Because if you think about 1 unit of time that you are spending that is going towards a client at a lower fee, right? You could fill that exact same unit of time and make a lot more. And in some cases, what it can also mean is that in order to, let's say, reach, let's call it a unit of 10, or let's just say, your goal is to reach 10. That might be 100,000, it might be $1 million, it might be 10 million. Whatever that is, let's say that's your goal. Well, to get there, you might need to work with, let's just say, 5 lower paying clients, but you might only need 1 or 2 clients that are higher paying. And so what you're doing by having lower paying clients is you're actually creating more work for yourself and lower revenue, lower profitability. And if you have a team, then it becomes even more important to not only think about yourself, but to think about what is best for the actual business and for your team. So that's number one in terms of, lower paying clients, that if you're scared to say no, or you're scared to make a change there's likely some implications and some things that are going to be bad for your business as a result of that. But the other is making sure that you say no to clients that are a bad fit. And that could be a bad culture fit. That could just be they suck your energy. They're always asking tons of questions or whatever it is, but it's just you can very clearly see that, and it might not be that you can see right away, but maybe you've taken on a project and it's like a monthly thing over and over, regardless of the structure. Of course, if you have an agreement with a client, then fulfill that agreement, right? I'm not saying not to, you definitely should. My point is that if you have a client that you feel is not a good fit, then you should do everything you can to either solve that, or if you don't believe that it can be solved, then you need to get rid of that client. And even if it means you make a little bit less money in the short term, it'll almost always benefit you in the long term. Because not only are you not going to do your best work for somebody that it's just there's not a good fit there, but it also means that you're spending that time working with someone that you don't enjoy, where you could replace them with somebody that you do enjoy. And you can't replace that spot if it's filled with somebody that is not ideal. But then the other part of it is that, the one resource that none of us can really create more of is time. And so if you're filling that with something that is kind of suboptimal, you don't get that back. Now, I understand if you're brand new to consulting, or you're in a situation where cash flow is really tight and you need to take that cash on, maybe you make a sacrifice. But really long term, and thinking with an abundance mindset, it's always, in my opinion, better to try and optimize and prioritize to work with those that are a good fit, that are high value, and that you truly enjoy working with. Let's talk about two more here. So fear to narrow in and offer fewer services, or to productize. And this again applies to those that are earlier stage and those that have been in business for many years. But if you think about what private equity, right? What does a PE company do? What does any, savvy acquirer do when they come in and buy businesses? What they do is they go in and they right away do an analysis to see what is actually working and what is not working. And the things that are not working, in most cases, they cut. And they just emphasize and focus more on the things that are working. You can do the exact same thing in your business. And let me actually just give you a very clear example of this, because this may, just for some of you, if it's not yet landing, let's say that you have 10 different service offerings, or even 5 different service offerings, right? And maybe some of those are product offerings. You may be spending an equal amount of time providing them. You may be spending an equal amount of time talking about them, an equal amount of time marketing them, an equal amount of time or an equal level of prominence on your website, your communications. But if you do an analysis, you're probably going to find that there is not an equal distribution of revenue and or profitability across those 5. What you'll likely find is that 1 or 2 of them bring in significantly more revenue and or profitability than the others. And so then the question becomes, why are you spending time, and why are you even offering those other areas? This can help you to go from where you are to the next level by simply kind of cutting away the fat, right? The inefficiencies, the things that are not truly serving you and your company, and focusing on the things that are working really well and doubling down on those. Okay. I hope that makes sense. All right. So the final point here for today is what holds people back from going from where they are to that next level. Again, from going from 6 figures to 7 figures, or from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures. And that is that they don't have good systems in place for their marketing, or for their sales, or for their delivery, or for their operations. So again, those are kind of the 4 main functions of a business: marketing, sales, delivery, or fulfillment, some people call it, and operations. And if you don't have systems for those, it's really hard to grow, to scale a business, and to take it to that next level. Now, to clarify, if you're doing, $100,000 or $200,000, you don't need a ton of systems yet. And you shouldn't be spending your time building out a whole bunch of SOPs, standard operating procedures, or other things at that level. You should just be focusing on, landing more clients, doing great work. But as you start getting, to kind of upper 6 figures and into 7 figures and beyond, then you need systems, because at that point, you're likely bringing on some people, whether they're contractors or part-time or full-time, or you're building out the team that you already have. You're probably becoming better at delegating different aspects of the work in the business that are not the right fit for you, so that you can spend more time on creating greater value for the company. All of that requires systems, and to run at a more efficient level. And maybe you're also thinking about, hey, I want to be able to sell this business one day down the line. Or even if you don't have the intention to sell the business, maybe you want to build a business so that it doesn't rely on you for the day-to-day, that it's not so founder reliant. And so the way that you do that is to make sure that you have systems in place. If you don't have good systems in place right now for your marketing, for your sales, for your delivery, and for your operations, that could likely be holding you back from being able to grow your business. So I hope that these have been helpful. You got a few ideas from them. Again, if you'd like to talk about any of these and how they apply to your specific situation, and if you want help to go from where you are to that next level in your business, again, whether that's from 6 figures to 7 figures, or whether that's from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures, that's what we help clients do in our Clarity Coaching Program at Consulting Success. So just click on the link below this video, or somewhere on the page around you, or go to consultingsuccess.com and get in touch. And we'd love to have a conversation with you about your situation and how we might be able to help.